My fellow hedgehog enthusiasts, forgive me, for I have strayed from the path of the hedgehog. But we back. I made a couple videos that weren't Sonic related, but we are back. And we are back so hard. We got the King Ice from the Sonic Speed Cafe. We got all three. And then I got the Sonic Symphony shirt from Atlanta. The Atlanta show. And I got all the boys there, but then the boys matched the chain. Absolute cinema. Alright, chat, but for real, today's video is which Sonic character has the deepest lore. So to organize it for myself, I made a bit of a tier list. Now, I want y'all to, this is a living piece of video or work. I want y'all to comment, because I'm gonna miss some things about some of these characters and some of the lore. I know a good amount of Sonic, but I don't know everything. So y'all put in the comments anything that I do miss. Another criteria that I am counting for what is deepest lore. You get bonus points for being a bit more mysterious if the fan base has to like fill in the tracks. I feel like that's really what exemplifies or bolsters the whole point of lore. You're supposed to get immersed into the story. So if you have fans filling in the pieces, you give us from point A to point B, you have fans filling in the pieces, I feel like that's an example of good lore too. And then lore is just backstory about the character, background stuff that enhances who they are in their character or makes them the essence of who they are. So yeah, the chat, that's what I have. That's the criteria that I want to go through. That's what we're, categorizing and grading as most in-depth lore. And yeah, let's get right to it. Yeah. All right, chat. So our first category is no lore. You feel me? So no lore, no ore, no maidens. This is the lowest of the lowest tier. It's the D tier, the F tier, or whatever. First, we starting off with Princess Celeste. She literally has no lore. They literally deleted all of her lore in Sonic 06, the game that she was in. She has no lore. End of discussion. Chris Thorndike, bro, I don't care. I don't even care if he do got some lore. I'm sure he got something in Sonic X, but really he just there to be Sonic's. Like, oh, Sonic, well, I'm your best friend. It's supposed to emulate what us watching Sonic X as a kid is supposed to be like. But honestly, Chris Thorndike could have just been Tails as the character, and that's that. Whatever. Bean, you got the Sonic the Fighters. I don't know much of any else lore. I don't know much else lore from them, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna just say no lore because I really don't know anything about them. Didn't they have like some signs in Sonic Mania saying they're missing, something like that? Or was that only Ray and Mighty? They might have been just Ray and Mighty. It might also have been them. I don't know. Either way, it ain't much for them to go off of. They might have some comic appearances. They might have a little bit there, but I'm be real with you, chat. I do not care. I'm not considering Bean nor Bark, nor do I think anybody would fight me over saying that they have no lore. So next section. Next we have the mediocre lore. So this is like they ain't got no lore, but they got mediocre lore. So first we got Infinite. He get beat up by Shadow. He want to be strong. That's all I really remember. You could say he got mediocre lore, and I feel like most people wouldn't fight me over that. He has some lore, but it's mediocre. Big the Cat. His lore is just so straightforward. I almost want to put him higher in like good lore, but I wouldn't say it's good lore. It's just like he just gotta get his frog. It's real simple and it's real endearing. Just a fat cat trying to find his frog fishing. It's very endearing, very wholesome. We love Big the Cat, but the lore is definitely mediocre. He pops up in like Sonic Adventure 2 and in the cutscene. So that's why I said he got some little mediocre lore. And then Froggy, he has a strong objective for all y'all who like acting, theater. He has a strong objective for his character. Yeah, his end goal is to find Froggy. You ain't never gonna get that confused. Next we got, is it Manic and Sonia? From Sonic Underground. They have lore. They're Sonic's siblings. So that's already putting them, that's keeping them out of the D tier, out of the no lore tier. But they're Sonic siblings, so I mean, yeah, like that's already points right there. Sonic Underground, they got a band. That's all the lore that I know about them. That's all that I'm willing to give them. But you know, they're cool, whatever. They're cool. And then Mighty and Ray. Anyways, Mighty and Ray, they came back during Sonic Mania. Everyone was like missing them. So I mean, I put them in mediocre lore. They have some lore, just mediocre. I don't believe they're on Team Chaotic, so I'll fact check myself, but I don't think they were. All right, that was a bit lengthy. These other sections gonna be very long. We'll get back to it though, chat. Yeah. Okay, so Mighty is a part of Team Chaotix, so I might have to move him up from my original tier list because I got all the Team Chaotix there. Team Chaotix is a good amount of lore in itself, and I'll get to why I believe they got some good lore. Ray the Squirrel want to stay mediocre, but Mighty gets up because we all like Mighty a little bit more than Ray. Mighty gets a little bit more representation than Ray. Wasn't Mighty like a Sonic like mock-up, or you know, was going to be some sort of stand-in for Sonic? I don't know. I have to look it up, but yes. So okay, now we're done. Next section, the good lore. Now we're getting to the good lore. Good lore. So I put Mighty in here, like I said. Next we have SPL and Charmy. They are part of Team Chaotix. SPL's a ninja. Coolio, right? And he's a part of Team Chaotix. The reason I put Team Chaotix up on good lore is because like they had a whole revamp after Knuckles Chaotix. So you know, they got some lore. And a part of what I mean with lore, like I am giving bonus points for a bit of mystery if you don't explain it all. I feel like that just adds on to the lore a lot of times. So yeah. So Team Chaotix, they all got good lore in my opinion, because they came from Knuckles Chaotix. Then Vector reassembled Team Chaotix as like a, you know, detective agency, and then you got Charmy and SPL along for the mission, who are originally Knuckles Chaotix. So you know, you got some headcanons you can make and whatnot, but ultimately, bro, like, Team Chaotix got some good lore. So yeah, on to the next. So Omega has the same kind of, I put him in good lore instead of mediocre like Big, because Big and Omega, very simple characters, very clear objectives. Omega wants to kill Eggman. He hates Eggman. That's a funny objective coming from a robot that's made by Eggman, so going de facto and whatnot, it's funny, it's good lore. That's all it pretty much is to it. Fang, he was in Sonic Triple Trouble. He's in Sonic the Fighters. I think Eggman hired him as just like, you know, not an assassin, but just someone to mess with Sonic, you know, give him a Triple Trouble dose. I think that was Knuckles, Eggman, and Fang. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. It's been a minute since I even played that game. Yeah, so we got Vanilla next. Vanilla has good lore, but I only really tie her in because she is the mother of Cream. And there's a little bit of mystery going on right here because we don't know who Cream's dad is. So, you know, I again, lore is getting a couple extra points in this criteria book for me because of literally the mystery of it. There's a little bit of mystery that we can fill in the dots. I feel like that adds on to the lore. But we do know who Cream's stepdad is. I got them right next to each other. Yes, sir. Sally Acorn, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm not a very avid Sonic comics fan or reader, but I do know that Sally. I mean, then they get married. Then they have like a kingdom. Like Sally is Sonic's girlfriend in the comics. If you're Sonic's girl, like you kind of already in there with the lore. Like that's kind of already a good backstory enough, a good background right there for the character. So even if it's happening in the now, looking at the retrospective of the character and the lore and the background of the character, leader of the Freedom Fighters, I believe. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, Mephiles has some good lore. Sonic X Shadow Generations amplified it, but even without Sonic X Shadow Generations, you can look at Sonic 06 Shadow's arc, and you know. That arc for Shadow was absolutely amazing, and a good part of that arc was a good villain, and that's Mephiles. Mephiles is a pretty good villain just to get that arc out of Shadow, and he has some good lore. I have to play Sonic 06 again because I really don't remember. I actually only played that game as a kid at my friend's house, and we played multiplayer, and then I got off. So I haven't even played the full game story-wise myself, but I have to refresh myself on the story for that. But yeah, Mephiles, good lore, good lore. Maria has great lore, just because I mean, being anybody who's tied to Shadow kind of got some good lore. I mean, come on. We actually got a little bit more of her lore within Sonic X Shadow. Dr. Gerald Robotnik's journal, like he was on the arc. We got a lot of lore about how you know, the family loved Maria, but they did not care about Gerald nor Eggman. And then we find out that Maria, like, did she have a sister? It was something. I'll have to bring it back again, but Maria got some good lore, goated lore. Maria has good lore. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think anybody's gonna argue that with me. Cream has great lore just because she has Cheese. And Cheese is a Chow. And if you know anything about Sonic lore, you know Chows kind of have some ridiculously cataclysmic lore. So yeah. Alright, chat. Next we have Tails. Now see Tails, I had him pretty low on the mock-up beta version of this tier list. But in actuality, if you know, Tails has a lot of good lore. Starting with Tails Adventure, which I believe Tails was like, that was before he even met Sonic. So tinkering in his own, you know, where his own laboratory home, going on that adventure. Excuse me. And even before Sonic met Tails, he was shy but always good with technology, and that really enhances his character. Honestly, does. So Tails just has good lore because of those two things. Because mainly from Tails Adventure, the game, and the fact that his life before Sonic. Both Amy's. Okay, so Amy has good lore. She likes tarot cards. What else is she? She likes tarot cards, and this is something else. I don't know, chat. She got some good lore outside of just liking Sonic. She is basically the emblem for love and peace and hope in the Sonic pantheon of characters. Like, she literally is just like femininity and passion and love. I feel like that's why she's pink. So yeah. But she got some good lore. I'm probably not thinking of anything too much else that I'm missing. So again, y'all fill in the dots for me in the chat, in the comment section down below. But yeah, she got some good lore. I'm just a brain partner right now. If I remember it, I'll put it in the video. But yeah, the biggest thing, she likes tarot cards, and she does something else. I can't remember what else she does. But yeah. Lastly, we have Rouge the Bat. Great lore. Government spy who doubles as her own agent, so she can get the world's rarest jewels. She's cunning, she's sly, she's sexy, and that all in the background of her being the government spy works for Gun, but doing this so she can obtain jewels of her own value. That enriches her character a lot. If you know that before you see her, and then you find that out later, it's like, yo, that's some good lore. So good lore from Rouge. Okay, chat. Now we at the crazy lore part of the tier list. These characters have some crazy lore. Not most in-depth. And most in-depth also includes like very cataclysmic lore. But we'll get there. Starting with Omochao. Omochao's crazy lore, remember I was talking about you get a lot of bonus points for being a bit more mysterious. So Omochao has a lot of lore, considering like in Sonic Adventure, with I think Sonic Heroes, Sonic Adventure 2, literally he gives you all of the info for your opponent. So if you're Sonic, he's telling you how to beat Shadow. If you're Shadow, he's telling you how to beat Sonic. He just is all-knowing robot Chad. I don't even know if we know who made him. We probably do. Chat, do your thing. Comment section, do your thing. Let me know. Educate me. But he's all the way up there at the bottom of crazy lore because he has crazy lore because he's so mysterious. Like, how do you know so much information about everyone? It's kind of like the Lakitu of Sonic. Lakitu from Mario, who's holding the camera all the time. He's kind of like third person, like surrogate, kind of like mentor figure, whatever, like, or guide figure, tutorial figure. So yeah. Babylon rogues have crazy lore just because they were established even before Shadow. In ancient times, you know, and then their ancestors had this crazy technology, extreme gear, and they had these Babylonian ruins, very Egyptian, very Indian. You know, you can come. I talked about that in my Sonic, which races each Sonic character video. Go ahead and check that out. But yeah, they have crazy lore. If you know Sonic Riders, you know the lore is pretty deep. They have their own alphabet, like they have their own extreme gear, like it's crazy. Cosmo from Sonic X has some pretty good lore. I should have mentioned this when I mentioned Tails, huh? Tails having a whole love life and stuff like that. That's not really lore. That's more so the main story. But yeah, she like the child of the Metarex who was gonna blow up everything or something like that. Something like that. She got good lore. I don't think anybody's gonna argue that with me. If you do though, put in the comments. Let me know. All right, next we have Silver and Blaze. So Blaze has more lore than Silver just because of Sonic Rush. But then I guess her lore got retconned when Sonic 06 happened, but then Sonic 06 got erased, so I don't know. But she has crazy lore from, Sonic and the Black Knight, also Silver too. From being in Sonic and the Black Knight, from being in Sonic Rush, the IDW comics show us a little bit about her palace and her kingdom. She's a whole princess. She's the alternate dimension Sonic. That's some crazy lore. So yeah, if you don't know that and then you learn it as you watching the character, that's some example of some good lore. So yeah. And then Silver, I don't like how Sega has kind of made Blaze Silver's sidekick. If anything, Silver is Blaze's sidekick, but it depends on how canon you think Sonic 06 is. Silver has some good lore just because he's from the future. He has the Future Trunks arc thing going on, and Future Trunks got some crazy art. They basically have the same character arc there. Future Trunks Silver was inspired by Future Trunks. So yeah, they got good lore, and that's all I really gotta say about that. I mean, I pretty much explained why I think they both have good lore, but Blaze is at the top of that tier list because she just got a little bit more than Silver, to be real with you. And honestly, I just like Blaze more. Sorry, a little cheating, a little bias. But yeah, Silver's still the go-to. 3 Hedgehogs, you know what's going on. All right, last section. Y'all ready? All right, starting off with E102 Gamma, I believe that's his name. It's been a minute. Let me make sure I'm not tripping. Gamma Sonic Adventure. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but I want to get the name right. Yep, E102 Gamma. Yep. So E102 Gamma, crazy. Oh my gosh. His whole story. So story is not lore. Story are the events that happen throughout the course of whatever you're watching, whatever form of media you're watching or consuming. Lore is like the background of that. But honestly, the way that they tell his story is also lore too, because you get to see his robot brethren and how Eggman treat him like trash until Gamma is the one who gets Froggy. So, but look, I don't think nobody gonna argue me on this one. Hear me out. Just trust me. Just trust me, alright? He got some crazy lore. His whole story in the lore is ridiculous. Metal Sonic has really, really, really good lore, especially from the IDW comics. When you look at IDW comics, Sonic Heroes, him becoming Neo Metal and going rogue on Eggman. All those again are story beats, but Neo Metal Sonic gets into more of the lore of who Metal Sonic is. He basically just is conditioned to think he is the real life Sonic, the real true Sonic. So that's some real rivalry. Honestly, he probably one of Sonic's best rivals, if not the best. But because then even the theme of organic versus robot, man-made. I ain't gonna get into it. Metal Sonic got some crazy lore. He got the IDW comics to show for it too. And Neo Metal Sonic goes into his psyche, which goes into the lore of who he thinks he is, and that identity crisis that he struggles with by being a clone of Sonic. So great lore. Next, Robotnik has some great lore. Him being tied to Gerald is crazy. His family not really caring about him. We found this out in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Actually confirmed, at least we found out about it through confirmation from Gerald's diary, I believe, or it was something. I can't remember what Sonic X Shadow, and I could just be mixing up my facts right here. But Gerald, Ivo got some crazy lore. Even his, Inception, if you count, I think that's Fleetway Comics, and I'm gonna get into this with Sonic too. Maurice Hedgehog and him being brown, but then being blue, and then Ivo Robotnik's name getting scrambled around because it was a crazy malfunction in the lab with Brown Sonic. He got some crazy lore. He's Sonic's main antagonist. With that being said, they give him a crazy good amount of lore. Again, Gerald. Maria being his cousin, I think. His family not really liking him in all in a lot of continuities, or black sheep and kind of outcasting him, and why he turns out to be this maniacal genius later on. So Eggman got some good lore. Emerald has some. Oh my gosh, it's like every character in his last tier list, I'm just having meltdowns every time I see their character, because all these characters have intense cataclysmic levels of lore. But Emerald, man, oh my gosh, being one of the ancient Gizoids, Man, I'm not gonna yap about it too much because I have to play Sonic Battle or watch a YouTube video essay to remind me of the story. But Emerald has some crazy lore, like oh my gosh, being one of the Gizoids and like Sonic having to destroy him at the end of Sonic Battle, and man, and then you got the prototype, or the not the prototype but the mock Emerald from the Sonic Advance series. So yeah, it's crazy. Emerald got some crazy lore. He's one of the deepest characters. If you know, you know. All right. Next, chat. This is oh my gosh. I'm tired, chat. All this lore. Shadow the Hedgehog. I'm not even gonna explain it. We had a whole year of Shadow. We had a whole movie and a game tie-in dedicated to Shadow, and a whole promotional year for him. Again, like I said, so Shadow has crazy lore. If you know, you should know. Even if you're a recent Sonic fan, I'm pretty sure you could tell he has some crazy backstory and background to his character. Knuckles the Echidna, I have him a little bit above Shadow, only because like Shadow's lore, it reaches cataclysmic levels of destroying the Earth, or being a threat to the Earth. So does Knuckles in a different way. I mean, Chaos screwed their whole tribe up. His tribe was asking for it, the Echidna tribe. Hachimak and all of them. But I mean, he's the last Echidna. He has crazy lore, and also it's a lot of mystery behind it. It's like, okay, like, how was he the last Echidna, but he like, how old is he? Versus, Tikal being, I guess, the last before the extinction, and through her spirit in Sonic Adventure. It's just a lot of mystery to Knuckles. It makes him cooler, that stoic energy, and his, duty to the Master Emerald whenever they remember it. That's not a diss though, because I mean, like, he is one of the main trio of Sonic, so like, you do want him to be a part of Sonic. But in the game continuity, it's kind of a little hard. In the comics, it's a little hard. The movies have done a good job of answering that question for Knuckles, who's protecting the Master Emerald. But yes, Knuckles has crazy lore, which goes into Tikal. They both have crazy lore. They're both Echidnas. Tikal's is a bit more heartfelt because of her father, Pachamak, and what she had to go through. She was the only peaceful, like, Echidna who they, the main one that was peaceful that they highlighted in the story. And I'm sure there were other tribe members who wanted to be peaceful too, but most of them wanted war and blood and chaos. No pun intended. Yeah, the Echidna tribe, man. Pachamak, the movies talk about like a little bit of the Echidna tribe. So like it's a lot of mystery with the Echidnas. Don't get started on Ken Penders and that whole arc, Sonic Chronicles. So the Echidnas have crazy lore. So if you're an Echidna in Sonic, you have intensely crazy lore. And that's just that, right? All right. On to the next. We're almost done, chat. Long video. All right, so next we have Chow. Also maybe Cheese, I guess, but Chow in general. Chaos is a mutated Chow. So that's why Chow is just so high up there. We love them, they're so adorable, and they got, massacred by, the Echidna tribe, and then Chaos, the one mutated Chow, went off on them for messing with his people. Their people, I guess. Chaos is a thing, not really he or she, I don't know. Yes. And then Chow, bruh, look how powerful Cheese is with cream. Bruh, in all the come on. So Chow/Cheese had to get some lore points going crazy. It's a lot of mystery to the Chows. We don't know a lot about them and their origin other than what the game Sonic Adventure tells us, and maybe a little bit of extra flavor text and other sources of media, other factual sources and credible sources. But yeah, Chip is basically like Gaia. Chip is basically like the anti-devil inside. Like, it's crazy. Like, Chip is I'm not even gonna go into it. That name even sounds important. If you don't know, just look it up. Chip is like Gaia in Sonic Unleashed. He got his memory erased. He helped Sonic save the world when Eggman actually succeeded in taking over and breaking up the world. So Chip is literally like Gaia. That's some crazy amount of lore. Chaos is a mutated Chow. We all know what happened in Sonic Adventure. We all know the murals that Gerald saw. That Eggman wanted to capture the power from the murals. I'm not even going to go into detail about it. You should know Chaos has a lot of ridiculous lore. And a lot of his story, a lot of Chaos' story, a lot of its story is its backstory, which is lore. So, yep. Our last character, chat. Our main character for last. Of course, Sonic is probably just by cheating has the most lore. This isn't exactly a tier list in order, but bro, like every mainline Sonic game got something to do with him. He's the main character, and all the plot lines come from who he is as a character. And we just get so much, and we learn so much about the character and who he is through all of his adventures, through the mainline games, through the sideline games, even again, even the craziest lore from the Sonic the Hedgehog Bible, I guess. What Maurice Hedgehog, him being a brown hedgehog until, you know, Eggman before he was Eggman. You know, that whole story that I spoke about earlier. I'm even a little bit hazy on it, so I'm not gonna start spewing out details that I don't know by heart. But yeah, I don't have to explain it too much more. He's the main character. He has the most lore in the series. Now, that's a cheat answer. If you guys want to answer for who has the most lore, I wasn't necessarily trying to answer that question. I was just more so trying to dissect the lore of each of these characters. But, I mean, if it's not Sonic, it's one of these. It's either Knuckles, Sakal, Shadow. It's either Knuckles, Sakal, or Shadow for me. Who has the most lore? Maybe Emerald and Chaos and Chip. But, like, I'm counting main cast a bit more. And if they're more of a staple of a character that continue to come back but also have lore, I'm counting that a bit higher. Just naturally, I don't know necessarily why I'm doing it, but it's just what it feels right to do. So yeah, probably Shadow, Knuckles, Sonic, Sakal. Eggman has some crazy lore too, but I wouldn't say as much as Shadow, Knuckles, and Sakal. So if it's not Sonic, it's either Knuckles, Sakal, or Shadow. But I want to hear what you got to say, chat. What y'all got to say in the comment section. Who do you think has technically the most lore? Correct me if I'm wrong or something. I just want this to be, you know, a community-driven video. You know, we just chop it up. Just to spark some interesting conversation, because Sonic has some crazy lore. Yes. Whew. All right, chat. This was a long video. I'm finna dip. Thank y'all so much for watching. We got some more Sonic content on the way. I want to get back to that. This is definitely the main content for the channel, Sonic. But I will be doing small bits and pieces here and there, other stuff. Especially when I don't have a good idea for a Sonic video, you know. All right, chat. That's all I got. I'm yapping. I'm out of here.